You're listening to the Bearded Theologians podcast, hosted by Zach Bechtold and Matt Franks. If you'd like to find out more about the Bearded Theologians, you can go online at beardedtheologians.com, where you'll find all of our past podcasts and other blog posts that we have up, along with some other items that you can purchase to help support the Beardcast. So we hope you enjoy listening to this week's show. You're listening to the Bearded Theologians podcast, hosted by Matt Franks
and Zach Bechtold.
This week on the Beardcast, we're continuing our little series not series. That's what we call it, series not series, on John Wesley quotes. And this one actually comes out of his sermon on the use of money, which is strangely one of my favorite John Wesley sermons. I don't know why it's one of my favorites. It just is. But in the sermon, he has this great line. He says, "When the possessor of heaven and earth brought you into being and placed you in this world, he placed you here not as a proprietor, but as a steward." So, Zach, as you've read that and think, what are some things that come to mind to you?
Well, the first off is our arrogance as human beings that we own this place, right? That this world that we live on is ours, right? I think that's initially what hits me is it's the reminder that no, we've been trusted in this to be stewards of it, not owners of it. And there's a difference in ownership and stewardship. Think about how you treat your stuff. If you go out and you get a rental car and you buy the insurance, you're going to drive it like a rental car. But if that's your car and you own it, you're going to be a good steward of it, right? That's just where I think that's where we miss out on a lot of what's going on in our world, and not just environmentally, but the people that are within it. We've spent far too long thinking that we have ownership over something that we're intended to take care of and to be good stewards of. And when we talk about stewardship in the church, far too many times that's understood as money. We're just going to give. We're going to give our money. But what I think Wesley's getting at here is this is not ownership, and stewardship is not just one thing. It is our full selves. How do we tend to this, all of this around us, the world, with our full selves? And if you're a good Methodist out there, it's your prayers, your presence, your gifts, your service, and your witness. How does all of that go into being a steward of your faith, of your church, of your community, of the world, everything that we're involved in? To me, it's that idea that we're shifting stewardship back from ownership and shifting it back to what the intention was as we've been given this world, created by God to tend to, not to own.
Yeah. I was thinking about it because for me, I think far too often we get hung up on those percentages. And when we hit those benchmarks, we think we're done. And so, like, if you tithe and you give 10% and that's it, and you could actually give 30% and you'd still be great. Like, could you imagine if our churches, if we had people that just tithe, if that's it, if they just stop it at the tithe, if they gave more than that, like let's say they gave 20%, just 20%. Could you imagine what that would look like in our churches if people were willing to give more? But then, like, think of it, and you brought it up, is the stewardship of our time, which to me, that's the one thing you can never get back. You can always go make more money. You can always, there are ways to get more money, but time is the precious commodity that we have, and what we do with it, what we choose to do with it, it really shows where our spirituality is. And I think far too often we forget that or neglect that, and then we find ourselves in this rut or this hole, and then it's amazing to see what will happen or what doesn't happen. Like when people really take stewardship seriously and it becomes part of their whole selves, and everything they do, not only just from their giving, but their time and their witness. And I think maybe we need to spend some more time talking about witness, because I think in our society today, and that can be a whole other podcast later, is talking about witness. I think we need to reclaim that word and talk about what it looks like to share our faith in a way that's healthy. And I know we've touched on that several times in this podcast, but I think that people are so afraid to share their faith that's a stewardship that they hold. That's a part of themselves that they hold on to. And that's the thing that's killing us. People not sharing why they do what they do. That's one of the worst things that we choose not to do.
Well, and I think, you look at just being a steward, and you look at it from the perspective of our prayers, our presence, our gifts, our service, and our witness. And the easiest thing we can do is write a check, right? And we tend to lump that in with our gifts. Gifts are more than that. Gifts are our talents. Being able to come and work on your church for a work day, that's a gift. Singing, preaching, whatever it is, right? Your talents. We've made this a very linear thing, a very flat thing of stewardship. And, when it's just interesting the ways that we have neglected these things, right? And it's really, really easy to write a check. Even if you don't have any money, you can write a check, you can drop a $5 bill on the plate and feel like you've done your part, and that's helpful and it's good and it goes to ministry. But what about the others? Can we really ask ourselves, are we being a good steward as we're called to be if we're only doing this, right? Mm-hmm. And it's not a shameful thing, right? But it's that call to, am I missing something, right? Is there a way that I can pray? Is there a way that I can go out and your witness? You're right. Our witness isn't just, hey, somebody on the street corner of, if you die tonight, where are you going? That's not witness. That's garbage. Our witness is living our life in a way that reflects the love and grace of Christ in everything that we do, right? And so that people see something's different within us, in our actions and our words, and go, I want to know more about that. Why is this person changed? Why is this person doing the things that they're doing? I want to go figure that out. That's our witness is how people see the love and grace of God through us. And that's stewardship. It's living into all of that in a way that the world around us changes. Not just the church, not just pieces of our community that we really like and want to invest in, but the whole world, right? And I think when we live into our stewardship, the world around us, right, what we experience and see on a daily basis begins to change, and that starts with us.
And that's why I think, in that sermon, there's his 3 points, because, he's a, classical preacher. You have your 3 points. His 3 points are give all you can, save all you can, and give all you can. Gain, save, give. Mm-hmm. And I think that last part's probably the most important. Give all you can. Mm-hmm. And I think the good question you can ask yourself, and what a great week to do it during Holy Week, is, are you giving all you can? Mm-hmm. As we think about that. And I want to encourage you that if you don't have a church home this week, find a place where you can go and spend some time in those Holy Week services, because I think they're very powerful and meaningful and can set you up for Sunday in such a way that you just feel so touched by those moments that I think they're important. And so I want to encourage you to do that, and connect into a Monday, Thursday, or a Good Friday service, or some of the other new services that are popping up during the week. I know we're doing Alexio Vigio of the Stations of the Cross on Wednesday. And so, I want to encourage you to do that, because I think when we do that, it helps us be better stewards of what God has given us. And it centers us and focuses us in such a way that lives can be touched and changed through what we try to do and how we interact and how we engage in this world. And I think that's important. So we've got some really good stuff up on the website. We've had a really great run this year on podcasts, and want to encourage you to listen to some of those great podcasts that we have. There's so many this year, it's hard to say which one would be our favorite. I know there'd be several that I would say that are great, and want to encourage you to go and listen to those. And so for the Bearded Theologians, I'm Matt Franks.
I'm Zach Bechtold. Thanks for checking us out.
We hope you've enjoyed the conversations that we've had today on the Bearded Theologians Beardcast, and we'd encourage you to continue those conversations online at beardedtheologians.com or on our Facebook page. We also hope that you pick up a couple of coffee mugs to satisfy your coffee mug collection. Have a good day.